you should really know this. What team won the 2010 World Cup?
What? 2010? What about 2012?
There was no 2012 World Cup for men.
Oh. Or 2011 or something. Easier.
There was no 2011 World Cup, nor has there ever been a 2011 World Cup.
Oh, okay. Manchester United.
That's technically impossible. How did you come up with Manchester United? Is Manchester United a country?
Wait, isn't that a team?
Yeah, but they can't actually play in the World Cup. And just so you, in case you couldn't hear, she said, wasn't that a team when I asked her? Cori, name a country that could have won the World Cup? Now, Manchester United, they're one of the best teams in the world, but how in the world can they win a World Cup when they're not eligible to qualify?
Spain?
Wow. Very, very good.
Woo!
Very good. Now, Cori, I want you to name one player from Spain.
Is that Messi guy on Spain?
That Messi guy is on Spain.
Yeah!
Do you know any other soccer players who are Spanish?
I don't know.
Just think of a soccer player whose name sounds Spanish.
Ronaldo?
Actually, not that far off. He's Portuguese. Okay, let's jump to a different question since, sadly, you know absolutely nothing about men's soccer. What country is Alex Rodriguez from? A-Rod, he's a great player. I'm sure you've heard of this guy.
What team is he on?
Speak up, please.
What team is he on?
He plays for the New York Yankees. Used to play for the Rangers and the Seattle Mariners. Has played shortstop and third base. One of the greatest hitters of all time.
Mexico?
No, Alex Rodriguez is not from Mexico. Please take another guess.
Wait, country?
Yes, what country?
Portugal.
Alex Rodriguez is not from Portugal. One more try, and then we got to jump to the next question.
Spain.
I'm gonna just go on a limb here and say Alex Rodriguez is not from Europe, Asia, Africa.
United States.
Yay. Okay. Who is the QB of the Green Bay Packers? This guy is very, very well known. He does the discount double check dance. What is his name?
That Rogers guy?
That Rogers guy is correct.
Yes! I got it.
Now, what team did Peyton Manning play the majority of his career on?
The Patriots?
That is Tom Brady's team.
Oh.
I think you should know that considering he's been in the Super Bowl many times and you actually watched the Super Bowl. Take another guess. I'm going to give you a hint.
Okay.
This state is Indiana. What city team did he play for?
The Indians?
Please take another guess. Well, that's a baseball team at least. The Cleveland Indians. They're in Ohio. I'll give you a hint. Their first name is Indianapolis. What is the mascot of Indianapolis? The team name, sorry.
Can you give me another hint?
Okay, the first letter is C.
Cowboys.
The Cowboys reside in Texas. The Indianapolis Colts reside in Indiana.
Are they baby horses?
Do baby horses play for the team? Is that what you're asking me?
No, I'm asking if Colts are baby horses.
I think they are. Yeah. I'm not a horse person. Go horses, whatever. Okay, how many World Series have the Tampa Bay Rays and the Texas Rangers won combined?
Wait, are they baseball teams?
I just can't believe you just asked me that. Yes, they are baseball teams, considering I just asked World Series and said Tampa Bay Rays and Texas Rangers.
20.
I'm gonna just tell you lower. Or higher. I'm gonna say lower on this one.
10,
Lower.
5,
Lower.
0.
Yay!
Yay!
Wow, that was so impressive, Cori. I'm gonna have to let you off here, but just thank you for being on my show. Your just pure stupidity about sports really enlightened my viewers today. Thank you so much. Okay.
Bye, world.
Thank you so much, Cori. And that was Cori's Quizzes. Okay, the last topic of the day is the most painful for me. As a huge UW Badgers fan, I can honestly say that I was horrified at the atrocity that was the Badgers offense last night. To discuss this with me is former Wisconsin student, Eb the Badger. How's it going, Eb?
It's not going so well, Sam.
So, Eb the Badger, what was your reaction to the Badgers game last night?
Well, it was very reminiscent of my days as a student in Madison, I hate to say. Very disturbing. Made you just want to turn off the TV or just leave the stadium.
Yep, I totally can agree with that. I was telling Eb the Badger here, I was watching the game with him, I'm like, please just fast forward the TV, I can't take this any longer. It was just an absolute atrocity, a complete debacle. They had nothing going. So, Eb the Badger, what was it expected, really, after barely eking out a win against mighty FCS powerhouse? Get this, Northern Iowa.
I don't think it was unexpected. I think that, and I have to say that I unfortunately did not get to see the first game, but after looking at the stats and the write-ups, it seemed their offensive line, always their strength, really struggled. And I expected them to have a tough game in Corvallis. It's a tough place to play. You didn't really know what Oregon State was going to be like since they didn't play the week before because of weather. So I can't say that it was completely unexpected, unfortunately.
Okay, now Wisconsin has one Heisman Trophy candidate, that is Monty Ball. Will he ever return this season to putting up the big numbers we Wisconsin fans are accustomed to?
No, he won't. And the problem is that last year his Heisman candidacy had as much to do with the offensive line as it had to do with him. He's, one of a dozen or so backs that have run great for Wisconsin over the last, few years, and the line is not what it was. And if they're on top of him like they were yesterday, there's really not a whole lot he can do. So, unfortunately, I don't think you're going to see a repeat of what he was able to do last year.
Personally, I feel that Monty Ball is about the best running back in football, or college football, sorry. But Wisconsin's offensive line was so ridiculously good last year. They lost a couple starters off that line that I didn't really expect them to be as good this year. They got a lot of new faces. With no offensive line, Monty Ball's not going to get close to that, to his record he set last year. He tied with Barry Sanders, set. So that's my personal opinion. Okay, next question. Is Danny O'Brien really just not that good? I mean, I looked at a little bit of his game film from Maryland. He seemed pretty decent. He didn't seem that great, but he didn't seem as bad as he did last night to me.
Well, that's the first game I've ever seen him play. And he didn't have a whole lot of time to throw. When he did have time to throw, he made some good throws. He made some bad throws. His receivers looked like they weren't really getting any separation off of the guys that were defending them. It's early for me to say whether he's, how overrated he might be. But, unfortunately, after one game, it seems like it's pretty safe to say he's not Russell Wilson. And with their line being like it is, even Russell Wilson, I'm going to guess, would have had a hard time last night.
Would Russell Wilson have been able to win that game for Wisconsin?
Well, since they only lost 10-7, and actually had a fairly decent shot at recovering an onside kick to try and tie it up at the end there, yeah, he could have won the game. I mean, just that much of a difference at a key position like quarterback could have made a difference. Maybe they do win that game. But unfortunately they didn't, and that's not really the point. We can't cry over Russell Wilson being gone. He's never coming back, so we just need to move on. But the one thing that they've always had is that strong offensive line, and as long as they have that, they're going to be competitive. Unfortunately, the way they played yesterday and the way they played in their first game has got to make you really concerned for the season.
Yeah, I'm personally very concerned for the season, but actually, as shaky Wisconsin had a fairly shaky defense last year. At least I know you and I thought so. But what was your impression of it last night? Personally, I thought they played about as well as they could, being on the field as much as they were.
I thought they did pretty well. Oregon State did move the ball on them, but that's the kind of defense that Wisconsin plays. They're going to give up yards. They're going to try and uh, bend but not break, so to speak. And I thought they actually did pretty well at that. I mean, anytime you only give up 10 points and your team has, I think the Badgers had something like 7 3-and-outs or something incredible like that. So when your offense is playing that poorly and your defense only gives up 10 points, it's really hard to say anything negative about them. So all in all, I think their defense more than held their own.
Okay, I know you and I both are UCLA and Wisconsin fans, both being more Wisconsin fans, but who has the better team right now?
Well, it's hard to say who has the better team, but if you're asking me who I'd like to watch next week, it's definitely UCLA. Um, Hundley looks like a player. They've got athletes at a lot of key positions, and that to me was the probably the most sad part about the Wisconsin game was they looked very unathletic. Defensively, I thought they looked okay, but offensively, they looked quite a bit slower than Oregon State. O'Brien looked pretty mediocre. The running backs had very little space to move in. And if you watched at the end of the game, they actually had to take Monty Ball and James White and split them out into wide receiver positions because they had to throw the ball. And I thought that basically was an acknowledgement that they are really lacking athletes in their skill positions.
If Wisconsin stays the same way, prediction, what's their record this season?
Well, I think there's some other bad teams in the Big Ten, and I don't have their schedule in front of me. But Illinois gets killed yesterday. Iowa loses to Iowa State. You would think that Wisconsin is hopefully not as bad as they showed yesterday. So all of that said, I think you're probably looking at a 4-loss season, maybe 7-4, something around there. And with Ohio State and Penn State being on probation, maybe they actually do have a chance to go play in the Big Ten championship game, which at this point seems like a very scary task considering who they would have to play against.
Yep, I pretty much agree with all those points. A great speaker, Ed the Badger is. Thanks you so much for being on the show. Your opinions are some of the most intriguing. Any last words?
No, go Badgers.
Well, that about wraps up our show. I'm Sam Rosen, and this has been me recapping history one step at a time.